Greetings, Earthlings.
What's up?
Rusty didn't want me to say that, but I wrote it on my paper, so I said it anyway.
He says literally everything on his paper.
It doesn't say that.
Oh, it says banter.
Banter. This is banter. Welcome to the Soundrop Livestream for October. I'm Pony.
I'm Rusty.
That's Rusty. And we're here to pull back the curtain on music distribution, if you will, and try not to touch the table too much. So I'm going to lay my pumpkin head figure down softly. I hope you're enjoying the special Halloween decor. Decor? How do you say it?
Decor.
Decor?
Yeah.
How do you say it?
Don't encourage him.
Don't listen to the engineer. All right, guys. We're here to talk about a lot of stuff today. We're going to talk about YouTube music. We're going to talk about a lot of questions you guys have. We're going to talk about some copyright indicator things, streaming abuse, find out what's on Rusty's mind, if anything.
So many things.
things.
And 1 minute of wrestling. It's going to be a good show.
Oh, shit. I didn't think about what I was going to say for wrestling.
Well, you only have a minute, so it'll be fine.
And the good news is nobody cares.
Perfect. Let's get started.
All right. So an interesting thing happened earlier.
What happened?
Well, since the live stream, or since the last live stream, when I pissed off a bunch of people on Twitter. Did I ever tell you about that? That time?
So
that was an interesting time.
So you were on Twitter.
I was on
and
Twitter.
Then people got upset.
Yeah,
at something you posted on Twitter.
Yeah.
That sounds like Twitter.
It was totally Twitter. Well,
what did you post about?
So usually everybody is so like fun and positive. It's all good vibes and joking around and everything. And I have a personal preference, which doesn't really matter that much, which I was acutely reminded of. But the band Imagine Dragons is not one of my favorites. They're just a band that I hear often, and a lot of people do covers of those songs, and I always enjoy the covers, but for some reason the band itself, their music, their production style, and their whole vibe just never really did anything for me. And I saw a tweet that somebody wrote that just said something like, Imagine Dragons music is so bad I feel compelled to call the police every time I hear it, or something like that.
Okay.
And at the time, it cracked me up, and I thought that was just a funny joke, and I retweeted it with some comment like, why doesn't this have 1 million RTs or something like that? Mm-hmm. Not even thinking a thing of it, because I tweet dumb shit all day, right?
Right.
Which you know.
Yeah.
You know this.
I mean,
well
that's one of the reasons why we pay attention to the Twitter feed. It's because of how batshit crazy it is.
I'm not sure anybody actually pays attention. But this one time they did, unfortunately, because immediately I started getting comments that were like, what is up? You're a music distributor and you're out there just like talking shit about musicians?
Yeah, it seems counterintuitive, doesn't it?
Yeah, a little bit. And I was like, well, but I mean, it's Imagine Dragons. It's like nothing I could ever say or do could have any impact on their career. There's no way they're going to notice this, read this. Their fan base is huge and couldn't care less what my opinion is. But the point, which I think was a good one, that many people made, was it's just a bad look to be negative about any musician, regardless of whether you like their music or not. And it's like, I'm old school. I'm from a time where it was like, major label bands suck, indie music rules, like, make fun of all the big bands, Nickelback, ha ha ha, it's just like a thing that we did. And now I'm noticing that so many musicians, especially Soundrop artists and people that I interact with, particularly on Twitter, they just are not into that negativity. And I was reading these comments and I was like, wait a minute, are you just like a fan of Imagine Dragons or something? And they're like, no, I couldn't care less about Imagine Dragons. I just think it's, why are you talking shit about musicians that are just doing their thing? And I was like, you know what? Legit. Point well taken. Deleted the tweet. And I grew up a little that day, and I really appreciate that. I like being called out on that stuff, and especially when it's not like a personal attack. It was like people were like, I don't like that negativity, and I was like, hell yeah, damn right. All right, here we are, 2018. Let's do this.
Yeah,
positivity.
Pumped.
Let's get pumped. Yeah.
speaking about getting pumped, something new has been coming through the pipeline. Spotify artist uploads. That artists are going to be able to actually upload directly to Spotify.
Pumped.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you think about that?
I think it's cool. I don't know how much it's actually going to affect us. I know it's in a closed beta of like 200 artists in the U.S.
Do you know anybody? Did you hear from anybody that got an invite?
No, not yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's fairly exclusive right now. I still think that different music distributors are going to have lots of value still. Like you go to one place, you upload everything, and then it gets sent everywhere, and you're not logging into your Google account, you're not logging into your iTunes Connect account, you're not logging into your Spotify account and getting paid in all these different places. That just seems, I don't know, it seems a tad excessive.
And the thing that interests me, so first off, just the emphasis on giving artists tools. Traditionally, big companies like Apple and now Spotify have appreciated having a intermediary, because artists are a creative, wild, very engaged bunch, and they're not just consumers or users. And companies like Apple, Spotify, like that, they're concerned about their users.
Mm-hmm.
So people who are subscribed to their platform. Seeing Spotify start to go in the direction of, we want to add things for artists, and looking at artists as a segment that needs to be served, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's super encouraging. And it will be really interesting to see, because we know like what we deal with and the role that we play and the work that we do that benefits Spotify is managing the metadata compliance, the change requests, the UPCs and ISRCs. Like, is Spotify going to give you a UPC? Is that part of it?
Yeah.
Because
who's to say?
If they do, then would you go and you be able to use that UPC for the same product on Apple? Are you managing like each platform that has its own portal? You go in there and add it there, and then you have it set up in these different places, like you said, and then for everything else, you use the aggregators. That seems like it would be difficult and a little hard to scale. So then I look at like a situation where, like, okay, get rid of aggregators, bye-bye Soundrop, in the trash bin, CD Baby, DistroKid, TuneCore, nobody needs them anymore, nobody needs them for distribution.
Mm-hmm.
Because each service, Amazon, Deezer, they all get a standard and they figure out how to provide for direct artist uploads. Well, now you have artists uploading it into Amazon in one way based on the UI that they provide, into Spotify a different way, into Apple a different way, using the same product code. I don't know. And like, what happens if the information is displaying differently, and now people are, if your thing gets taken down on one store, is Amazon going to support you in the same way that your aggregator might if something comes down or there's an issue or there's a problem with it? I think these are questions that nobody has answers to yet, but imagine that they could, and that they did, and there's no more aggregators. Well, now users are just uploading content to Spotify and Apple the same way they do to YouTube. Now, when you upload a video to YouTube, like a video you made of yourself playing, I don't know, like naked volleyball.
Sure.
Come on, Rusty. We've all seen Rusty's naked volleyball videos.
They've all since been taken down.
Oh, really? Even though you did the blur out?
Yeah. Life's hard.
The videos that you upload to YouTube are not considered products, right? There's some kind of identifier that's in YouTube system. It's not a product, right? So maybe we are looking into a future where music starts to not become a product. It's just a thing that people share and create and riff off of, and it's just like an ongoing dialogue of artwork. And it's not like what we have thought of in definitely all of our introduced of the recording industry. Well, what was it before the recording industry when people just played music? I guess there was the ability to copyright the publishing of the sheet music for a composition,
and that still exists.
But even before that, music was just a thing that it was all in the public domain. And it'd be interesting to see if maybe we start heading in a direction like that. I think the hard part of that is that our artists at this point expect to be paid for people consuming their content.
Right.
So wait a minute, hang on.
Don't worry about it. We'll just keep moving.
All right. They seem to be some content on screen here. So that's the one possible future. Is music just becomes a thing that is shared, and rights to music becomes less and less of a thing. Because if Spotify is going to be paying people for streams, then the piece of music has to be a product, right? That content has to be a product. And we go back to my blue peanut butter analogy.
Every month.
Just do my it. Monthly. I'm not gonna go into it. People can look into our YouTube archives and find my blue peanut butter analogy.
It's deep catalog.
It's a deep cut. But my point, though, if I have one at all, is that that the distributors, the aggregators, play a role in defining and kind of institutionalizing this music product as a product, and we're vendors for these companies that are the retailers. So that's interesting. In the short term, though, that's some far out ponies peaking pipe dream stuff, right?
Yeah.
But in the short term, it's okay, so if Spotify flipped the switch tomorrow, now everybody's uploading content to YouTube. Uploading content directly to Spotify. Everybody else is, all the other retailers are getting stuff from us. You have to go through that. I think it's important that the industry progresses in the right direction. And for us, it's really important that these changes occur because they keep us always looking for the new things that we can bring together, and our position in the music industry, where we're representing tens of thousands of artists and hundreds of thousands of tracks. And what more can we do? There's so many things. I'm talk to people every day that are have so many issues with licensing and securing rights for things. And I mean, sync licensing for your video game music cover video. What if you want to license an original sound recording to do a remix or sample from it? They're having a marketplace of licensing and rights that artists come to. They can upload their track, get all the necessary licenses, decide where it's distributed, get aggregated reporting and data.
So all of that in one spot. And
yeah.
As opposed to seeking it out in every pocket of different services.
Right. There's a reason why Whole Foods doesn't just buy every single one of their products from the individual manufacturers, because that becomes a shit show after a while.
Right.
And for the manufacturers, the producers of the product, having to go individually to every possible retailer and make a deal, not only becomes difficult and unscalable, but also it takes away your leveraging power. As an individual artist, you're dealing directly with a huge company. You have a lot less leverage over what they do and the negotiation and agreement you have with them. Right. So organizations like Soundrop and DistroKid and CD Baby and TuneCore have tons of content and tons of artists, and that gives them bargaining power. And then even those organizations, they enter into agreements with similar organizations collectively that are able to negotiate and bargain. So there's, I think, a lot of things that we can that we
still
would
a lot
still
of value
do.
That
there, oh my God, there's tons of stuff that we can do. And if we can't figure out how to put together to bring value to the marketplace for our artists, then what are we even doing? Like, and we deserve to go, play bass in a bar band, play Wonderful Tonight 5 nights a week.
Yeah, well, that won't be happening anytime soon because we're going to every day just continue to go to bat for our artists.
You don't like Wonderful Tonight?
Nope.
I don't either. Especially not after playing it 5 nights a week for an entire summer.
In a bar band.
In a bar, yeah, not in my own band, and that was just the cover we chose.
Oh, no. you just, you come home from work, you just play that song 5 nights a week. Moving on.
For the last time, no.
So
right.
we had some questions from some of our users, right?
We had a bunch of questions. That was one of them, and I talked a lot about that. Is there any way we
let's cruise through these?
I don't. Oh man, lots of questions. I'll go back through here in a second here, but first,
Rebecca's
the questions.
Killing it on answering them.
Oh, she is?
Yeah.
While we're talking?
Some of the time, yeah. It's good. Let's keep things moving.
All right, first question. This one came from Patty, Violin Patty Rudisil. I actually don't know how to pronounce her last name, Patty. I'm sorry, I butchered that. Anyway, she asked about account merges. So, account merges. Let me give you the background on what account merges even mean at first. So, Soundrop started out having Louder Distribution's entire catalog ported over to it. Now, in Louder system, which was really innovative because they allowed the splitting of revenue on any track or album, or any track or album.
They allowed multiple people the same ownership over artists as well.
Yes, and that was the problem, because in our system, we didn't want to allow that because we didn't want to have multiple people accessing the same pool of money. That was the big thing.
Mm-hmm.
So when we were porting over the accounts and porting over all the albums, we, number one, had to figure out which albums to give which artists and which artists to give which users. And we also had to figure out what we were going to do about this situation where you might not own a piece of content and have content management rights. In other words, the ability to determine what stores and pricing and make edits to the metadata and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But you also needed to be able to get paid from another person's release and not have editing rights to the release. So the system that we came up with, so first of all, to port all the accounts and figure out which users owned which artists and which artists owned which albums, there was like a bunch of going through spreadsheets, and eventually we came up with a bunch of rules that surprisingly got it almost all
Pretty
the way
close.
right. Yeah. What ended up happening is that a lot of people ended up with these like account names that was like their artist name then with unknown after it. And some of you guys might have seen those. Most of those over the first year, we cleaned those up. And then
and in doing so, we actually built a pretty straightforward approach to cleaning those up, merging them down. From Louder to Soundrop, lots of users had multiple accounts under the same login. Some had their artist name in somebody else's account. And so in order to merge these... it was messy. Thankfully, it's a lot less messy these days.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, so for merging accounts, it doesn't matter how many you have. We can take all of them and we can merge them down into one single artist account.
Though I will say, personally, my preference is to leave at least the payee account and the distribution account separate, because the way that it was, because that's how it was designed. Basically, you log in, you have two separate accounts. One's for collecting revenue on other people's releases, and the other is for managing
for your own
distribution.
catalog.
For your own distribution. And the way that it's set up is like in the payee account that I call it, you can see the albums, but you can't make changes to them.
They're view only.
View only, right. And if we merge those two accounts together, you'll have no visibility in the platform or in the app itself. You won't see the releases that you're getting paid on from other people's accounts. You won't see them because
you don't have the distribution
because you don't have content management rights.
Yeah.
Exactly. So we can do that, but just know that the only place you're going to see what other releases you're getting paid on is, at least for now, we're working on a better system for this, but at least for now, you would only see it in your statements. You'd still get paid for everything. So if we merge it all down, we could do that, but you might just want to leave the payee account and the distribution account separate.
Yeah, it's up to you to figure out which system would work best for you. And if you do have accounts that you want merged, just hit us up.
Yeah,
we can get it going.
Account merges.
Yeah.
Should we keep firing through the questions here?
Let's do it. So we got one from Ro. So how do original songs work within Soundrop? Are there different kinds of fees or splits, considering there isn't any licensing costs? As somebody who releases original content through Soundrop, what I can tell you is that none of the splits or any of that sort of stuff, it's all the same between covers and public domain and originals. The only difference is you don't pay a licensing fee. So for my band, we put up 2 albums of originals, and I didn't pay a cent for it.
Nice. Well done, Rusty. That's because he works here.
Well, no, it's simply because that's how it operates for originals.
But yeah, originals are just you get 85% of the earnings, no sign-up fees, no nothing. The only difference between that and covers is covers $10 for a song on the as you're setting it up.
Yeah, and you have to wait for the licensing to clear before it's distributed. Yeah. For originals, there's no upfront fees, and you can be live in a matter of days.
Yeah, and no upfront fees, no membership fees or anything, and that's why it's good for collaborators.
Absolutely.
But I was kind of confused by that question. I thought that was very clear. I was surprised that was even a question. I wonder if it's probably because in Louder's system and all the legacy Louder content that we ported over into Soundrop they had a different model where it was 30%. They took a 30% commission on cover songs
on downloads.
It was really complicated, so we just did it.
Yeah, but much simpler these days.
Yep. All right, Florian, our main dude, Florian, who provided our awesome intro music.
Yes.
He said updates on PayPal payments or any other method to pay cover licensing fees. So right now, as you're setting up a release, if there's a cover song on it, as you're setting it up and you submit it to us, it says, hey, you got to pay $10 a cover song, and the only way that we can collect that money right now is with a credit card.
Right. And a lot of people in other countries don't even have credit cards or use them.
Right. So what we are working on is not eventually, yes, we would love to be able to accept PayPal payments for the licensing fees, but even sooner than that, we're going to add new payment options that will be far more robust for you guys, including
direct to a debit card, or the balance will be loaded on a prepaid Visa, which could be reloaded each month with each new payment. That Visa that you would get, you would be able to use for payments.
So you get paid from Soundrop, and then you just get right into your computer and just pay all that money right back to us.
Please, we need it.
Rusty needs it.
Yeah,
I'm a brand manager. You know how much money I make?
No.
All right.
Chelsea Quixote, if that is your real name, which it's definitely not.
I believe it.
You think it is?
Yeah.
Sorry, Chelsea. Chelsea runs a video game music and electronic cover song label. Does anyone know what we are living for?
Well,
I know what Rusty's living for.
To suffer.
Oh, I was going to say...
Also Half-Life 3.
Okay, that's what I was going to say. Half-Life 3. Rusty's living for Half-Life 3. The rest of us... I have a weird theory on this.
Oh, boy.
Hear me out. What are we living for? So...
Are you getting philosophical?
I'm gonna get a little philosophical here.
All right.
Imagine if you were completely omnipotent. You knew everything that was happening. Just so you know, everybody behind the camera is going like this right now.
Yeah. I think Tony is about to seizure.
Yeah, if you're don't seize up, Tony. We need you. If you were completely omnipotent, you would get so bored so fast. And I think that the underlying consciousness of the universe at some point got really bored, and so it fractured. It erased its it erased its knowingness, it erased its omnipotence, and fractured itself into infinite amounts of consciousnesses that could then regenerate in new forms. And it's all a way for the universe to be able to actually perceive itself with a freshness.
Okay. Yeah.
And I think
doing away with omnipotence through boredom.
Well, through
boredom.
ignorance.
And ignorance.
Through ignorance, yes, and that's why
we lose our omnipotence.
It's like, oh yeah, there's in the myths and stuff of Adam and Eve got separated from God or whatever. I think that's it's talking about that stuff, you know, and so our whole reason. What was the question? Oh, does anybody know what we're living for? I think the answer is no. But I'm
living for you to finish this answer.
What I think we're living for is just to actually experience the world in the moment as much as possible while you're alive.
Cool.
But I don't think anybody knows. Gamelark asked, "Is wrestling still real to you? Damn it!" No. But I might have a different opinion tonight when I'm watching SmackDown live at the Moda Center.
Nice.
And Daniel Bryan's gonna be there.
No, he will be.
Yes.
I'm being accosted.
I think that what Gamelark is referring to is that video of the guy crying and going, "It's still real to me, damn it." And that guy, everybody makes fun of him, but I'm gonna put a link here in the chat. That dude is a lot sharper than anybody gives him credit for. And wrestling, no, it's not real to me. It's not supposed to be real. Are movies real to you? Are video games real to you? You're just making fun of wrestling fans with that question. I get it. We'll talk later.
Yeah.
We'll talk later.
Hey.
Wait, I didn't do that just because I was angry about a wrestling thing.
The ghostest with the mostest.
But this is time to pop open up. Oh, it came back quick.
Yeah, with a vengeance. Cool. Gamelark also asked, pineapple on pizza. Yes or no?
I have always been no, up until very recently when I got a good pizza with really good pepperoni and fresh thin sliced pineapple. Mm-hmm. That kind of converted me. So I used to be
Throw some jalapenos on that too, and then you have the salty, the sweet, and the spicy all at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So traditionally anti pineapple, but my wife loves pineapple on pizza, so it was always just a reason for us to get into fist fights, but which I always lost. Yeah.
Yep.
So pineapple, if it's good, if it's fresh pineapple, just canned pineapple on shitty pizza, no.
Okay, good deal. And back to a serious question from Cairo Braga, who's an experimental musician from Brazil. Why am I obligated to submit to both YouTube Music and Google Play? And I believe Cairo's in the chat right now too, right? Awesome. Yeah. So
right on time.
Let's talk about it.
Why? Yeah, that is annoying, huh? It's like you can't select one without selecting the other.
Right.
You can't have one without the other.
So fun fact, Google owns YouTube.
Rusty, that's really...
And we foresee that Google Play is eventually going to go away. The writing's
what about all your cloud storage, Rusty?
I'll live. Everything will be just fine. Down the line, what's going to happen is currently what we have separate delivery feeds to Google and to YouTube. Sometime next year, most likely, those will converge into a single feed.
You love Converge.
Oh man, they're great. Yes. Thank you for derailing me. Converge is a great band.
Sorry. They're gonna the feeds Google and YouTube.
Yeah, exactly. We'll cross the feeds.
Yes.
So the two feeds will become one, and eventually, yeah, that's my favorite. All right, third favorite.
Everybody's derailing you.
Yeah. Anyway, so eventually Google's going to go away. YouTube Music is going to stay. We're sending them separately right now, but ultimately we're going to start sending them at the same time on our end. So in a way to synchronize all of the metadata so that there's no funny business down the line, we're requiring both to happen at the same time.
Yeah, we're just looking out for you guys and just trying to get everything synced up and be thinking 3 steps ahead of everything else that's happening. So if we're doing something like weird like that, it's either there's a really good reason for it. Let's just say there's always a really good reason for it.
Yeah. So with this conversation about YouTube Music,
That's a good segue.
you know,
I even wrote it on my notes here. Good segue.
We don't have a sign for good segue. We'll work on it.
Yeah.
So
That'd be a lame sign.
not be good. We'd use it one time and then probably let it on fire.
Good segue. Or
Alright.
on the stream.
So should we take a look at some YouTube Music?
Yes, so now, okay, so we are now distributing to YouTube Music. I'm sure all you guys know. So, again, it's a separate streaming app, not completely separate, but it's in addition to standard YouTube. So it behaves much more like Spotify. Features of the platform, like you can, search by artist or song, and it's like music-specific filters. Your a queue, you can download music, offline listening, stuff like that. The way that your artist profile works on YouTube Music, though, is different. So and I actually saw this with Rose. When I first checked it before we started delivering, didn't have much of a profile there. Now,
should we take a look at Rose's profile?
Yeah, let's bring up Rose.
Let's bring up Rose's profile.
Now I noticed that when you look at it on YouTube Music, let's send this actually let's send it to the feed.
Classic.
We're tripping out.
Yeah, well, keep going.
So basically what I noticed is at first there was like almost no real profile. It was just like the topic page with 1 subscriber, and it looked weird. Well, we started delivering content there, and now I've noticed that when you look at his profile on YouTube Music, it is connected to his official artist profile on standard YouTube. But when you flip back and forth, it's still like what it looks like on the standard YouTube side. Oh yeah, okay, there we go. So what it looks like on the standard YouTube side is this main topic page or topic channel. But then when you look at it in YouTube Music, it looks good.
Yeah,
it looks like he would want it to.
It's actually him, and you'll notice that his subscribers is consistent. We have his albums, we have his single, we have his own official videos as well, which is pretty great.
Wait a minute, that's definitely not.
That's definitely not you. There's another row?
I think he's effing with us, Rusty.
I don't understand what's happening. But yeah, so the point is, the links are created between your regular YouTube channel and the content that we distribute. And over time, you'll have an official artist channel. YouTube is working on that slowly but surely. And the very specific requirements for that are actually contained under artists.youtube.com. Highly recommend you go here to resources, and then they have an FAQ, which should answer the vast majority of questions people have.
Yeah, especially about official artist channels.
Yeah, most definitely.
It's funny, going back to that Spotify direct uploads conversation, to me, it's telling and interesting that YouTube, which, was established as a platform where users upload their own content, when it comes to wanting a music-only product that is really functional for a music consumer, they only want that content from a distributor.
Right.
So I think that's interesting. I wonder why that is.
Yeah.
I think I know, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Well, and the plus for distributors like us sending music to YouTube is that it's going to be high quality, it's going to be consistent.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, just give YouTube some time to get everything linked up, and I think it's going to be a really viable streaming service.
Yeah, I've been actually using it, and I like it. It sounds silly, but one of the things I like most about it is just the way it feels when you're clicking through it on your thumb. You know what I mean?
It just
feels slick.
So good.
It's slick.
Cool.
It's nice. Yeah, and of course, when people stream the tracks that we deliver, you get paid just like a traditional.
It's streaming revenue as opposed to say something that's related to Content ID. So
Yep.
even if you're not a YouTube partner, you'll still be paid out for it, which is awesome.
Yep. And there are so you can upload or you can opt in YouTube your back catalog to YouTube Music, either one track at a time inside the app, or go to our help center and you can find a form where you can just fill out the form and say, yeah, upload my entire catalog to YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I do strongly encourage everybody to get in there and get all their back catalog added to YouTube Music and any new tracks as well.
Awesome.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome, I guess. Now that we're 38 minutes in,
I suppose.
Maybe I didn't need to talk about the theological shit, huh?
You know, next time we'll pare it down just a little.
Yeah, we'll edit it out. Somebody did ask. Somebody asked a question. Do I use a bot to tweet out the shares of like Soundrop artist music? No, I do that every morning. I get up. I'm probably still in my pajamas, and I look through stuff that people have uploaded, listen to it. I share it. I'll queue up. I have like a tweet deck thing, so I'll just queue them up for the day. But yeah, I do all those myself. I listen to that music. I love you guys. Come on, am I a bot?
No.
Nice. Well,
oh honey, I'm gonna read the hell out of that FAQ. That's what I like to hear.
Yeah. Should we switch gears? What do you think?
We did. Oh, sorry, Rebecca. Yeah, let's switch gears. Let's bring Rebecca on since she's.
Yeah.
Get her out of the chat here. Oh, Anicha. You want us to talk about streaming abuse? We will talk about streaming abuse, will we not, Rebecca?
We will. We will talk about streaming abuse.
But you know,
do we have the marker?
I have markers.
Nice.
And with our little microphone here, you'll have to speak up. All right, here I have markers, erasers. So, one thing that we've noticed that people do a lot, do incorrectly a lot when they're setting up albums, partially our fault, but there's those little fields where you add the P and C copyright dates, or not dates, but it's just like information. So it's often misunderstood, particularly for cover song musicians. You're doing somebody else's work, and you know that somebody else owns the rights to the composition. And also the little kind of help text stuff that appears in the app is maybe wrong, definitely unclear. We're going to get that changed ASAP. But I thought that it'd be helpful if we came on and just explain what those fields are, what they mean, and what you put in them. Does that sound like a good idea, Rebecca? Since you have you've even written the.
I've written it
happy
down.
face just for me. Okay.
Yeah.
So P.
P stands for phonograph, not publishing. So what that means is it's the compositions of the song on your single or album and the song itself. So who owns the copyright to that is the P line.
To the sound recording.
To the sound recording.
Not the underlying composition.
So not the lyrics, not the chord changes, not the, what you would call the song as written out on sheet music. That's not what this is referring to. It's referring to the phonographic reproduction. Sounds. So
the sound. Or the collection of sound recordings if it's an album with multiple tracks on it.
Totally. So if you're doing a cover, the copyright owner of the phonograph, the actual sound, is you. It's not the original publisher of your cover song. And it's always important to put the year in there. So that tells us when was this copyright established.
Yeah, so the year that you're going to put there is the year that the sound recording itself, or this collection of sound recordings, is first published. Now, in the vast majority of cases, when you upload an album or a track to Soundrop, that's the first time it's being published, so you're going to put the current year.
Right, exactly. So it will look something like that in the P line. So what I don't want to put here is Sony Music. I don't want to put necessarily a record label unless they own the copyright to my recording.
Yes.
We ready to move on to C lines?
Well, wait a minute. Let me mute my thing here. Okay. Yeah. So even if you're including songs that were released previously in a different year, if you're getting a new UPC for this release, that's the year that you're going to put in the P line.
Yep. So it's referring to those collections of sound recordings as a whole, rather than when you first released a single.
Yeah, exactly. And the name that you put there is the owner of the copyrighted sound recording. So that's gonna almost always be your artist name, or if you're on a label, then the label name.
Right.
Who owns the rights to copy that sound recording, the copyright. And then so that's the P line, and then the C line is the complete package of the release, right?
Right.
So what does that include?
So that includes for our uses, it includes the metadata and your artwork. So that's the whole package, as well as the lyrics. If you're releasing a CD, that includes the liner notes. It includes the art on the CD itself. Anything that you include in the package that you're selling. And it's really easy to format this correctly. Typically, you're going to put the same thing in the P and C lines if you own both the sound recording and the sound recording metadata and art.
That's the vast majority of time. You're just going to put current year, artist name, current year, artist name, bada boom, bada bing, moving on. I don't mean moving on with this segment. I mean moving on in the form where you're uploading. Keep talking.
Totally. So that's what it will look like when you're done. Just unless you have something else arranged, and then put whatever you need to put there. There's a few things that I typically see when I'm looking at content that are incorrect, and I'll just show some examples if that's cool.
I love those examples.
So, 2018 Soundrop. So I see that a lot. And Soundrop, Soundrop does not own the copyright to your music, so you don't want to put that down. The other thing I see a lot is the original record label of the cover song, so Sony ATV. And that is also incorrect because they don't own the rights to your submission as a full package. So basically what you're saying there, if you put that there, they own the rights to your art and all your audio and your metadata, which isn't quite correct.
So should you be putting it's the proper way to fill this out is with the artist name, right? Not your full legal name, right?
Yep, you can use artist name. It's what you're most comfortable with. So you can use your full legal name if you want to. This will display on partner sites. So if you do decide to use your full legal name, that's going to be available for people to look at. Just an FYI. But there's nothing wrong with using your artist name at all.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. What did you say?
It's going to display on partner sites.
Oh, yeah.
Your full legal name. So it's just something to keep in mind.
Yeah, just use your artist name.
Yeah.
Or make up a label name. That's what we always used to do in the old days. From every band I was in, we just make up a label name, and that was our label, even if it's just us and the thing we made up. That's a cool thing to do, right?
Yeah, totally. I saw someone the other day, their record label name was God Bless My Therapist.
Oh.
And that was my favorite that I've seen so far.
I really feel that one. All right. Is that it for P and C lines?
Just the other thing is that the P and C lines do affect the way that your music is going to display on some partner sites. So if you
Spotify shows that.
Yeah, so if you're going to release a new album and you don't put this year, you put like 2015, it's not going to display as your newest release. So if it's a re-release, that would make sense. If this is like a brand new product and package, you want to use the current year that you're distributing.
When in doubt, if you're getting a new UPC, just use the current year, right?
Yep.
Cool.
Totally.
For both. And yeah, it's important because it's required info for every release, so you do want to make sure you get it right.
Yep, absolutely. And our system does guide you to using a year, so it'll tell you if you haven't properly formatted the year.
Got a little bit of validation in there.
A little bit of validation.
Rebecca, you know what that is?
Is that good info? Yes.
Alrighty, so let's move on here. I have in my possession a bottle of ranch dressing soda. Is that coming through? Yeah, look at that. Does anybody have a bottle opener? I thought we should try this gross shit.
This was a total
I've never had it
surprise
before.
to me.
Somebody gave me this ranch dressing soda before.
I am so disgusted. This is so gross.
There was a hair in it. No, I'm just kidding. So ranch dressing soda by Lester's Fixins. There's no discernible expiration date, but it is made in the USA, pure cane sugar, so no high fructose corn syrup.
Do you remember when Jones Soda used to have mashed potato flavored soda during Thanksgiving? That's what this reminds me of.
Was it good?
I never tried it.
All right, ranch dressing soda. Here we go.
No. Nope. That's disgusting.
It is super fucking gross.
It tastes like blue cheese somehow, like sweet blue cheese.
Oh yeah, they asked, "Do you want ranch or blue cheese?" And I said ranch, and they gave me blue cheese. No, just kidding. It tastes like ranch butt. All right, so speaking of things that taste like butt.
Streaming abuse?
Yeah. Streaming abuse. Let's define it. What is streaming abuse?
So streaming abuse is when you or someone else streams your music, whether by hand or by bot, over and over just to gain revenue or placement. Why are you still drinking?
I don't know. It's habit, but
don't. Oh.
No, because the streaming abuse shit is important.
Yeah. So basically, just playing music over and over and over again to get better placement or to get money.
Yeah, that's a really crappy practice. How do people even do it? Like, do people have bots set up that do that stuff?
Yep, people have bots set up, or they I've heard of people contracting out to things like Amazon Mechanical Turk to, I mean, not necessarily that exact.
Oh, that's like
place,
where they build. That's what they use. I've
yeah,
heard
what
people
they use
using
to like
some
contract out to just people like, oh, you get 10 cents if you hit play on my song.
Oh God, I've also heard of like software testing programs that they can get to use do it. So there's a system by which we identify streaming abuse, come to recognize it, confirm that that's what it is. Obviously, we're not going to give away all of our trade secrets about how we find it and detect it. But when we do detect it and we're sure of what it is, what do we do about it?
So if we can tell that this was by accident, so we talk to you and we're like, okay, you just didn't understand exactly what happened. You know, we'll give you one chance. If it's very clear that the music is specifically designed for this type of behavior, we're going to remove all your content, shut your account down, and we'll close any new accounts immediately. We don't have a lot of tolerance for this. It's not fair to artists who are actually out there and creating real music to try to reach real people, and it's not a great...
It's not what we're here for.
Yeah, we're not here for that, and we want to maintain our partnerships so we can give everyone the best service.
Yeah,
so.
that's the other thing is, as a partner to Spotify, YouTube, Google, Amazon, one of the things that we're here to do is to filter that stuff out and identify it, shut it down, and identify users that are doing that as they try to spin up new accounts and do it with new albums. It doesn't work. Just stop. Now, a lot of times people will claim, I was just streaming my own music, right? Can't I stream my own music? Why can't I stream my own music?
You can stream your own music, but you can't stream your own music specifically to get plays or to increase your visibility or to get more money. So if you're legitimately listening to your song, that's totally fine. You can listen to it 5 times in a row. That's not going to be a big deal. But what we're talking about is very obvious to us when you are just streaming your own music to get more money.
Yeah. Now, I have heard before a question which is like, well, what if somebody else is streaming my music over and over to try to get my song taken down?
So that's really not the easiest way to get your people's songs removed from a service.
Yeah.
There's a process called a DMCA takedown. They could very easily just report you to the partner and have it taken down very quickly. So no one is going to do that for any other reason besides garnering revenue or increasing visibility. If you hear of a fan doing that for you or encouraging people to do that for you, tell them to knock it off right away because
shut them down.
Yep, shut them down. Whether it's you or a fan, it could seriously affect the status of your music.
Or a company that claims to be that can boost streams for you. They need to be shut down. And if your account gets busted for this, it's not good. What happens?
Yeah, so what will happen is if a partner notices it, they're going to shut you down right away. They're going to email us, tell us, we have to pull all of your content, shut your account down, close any other related accounts, and we have to block all your payments because we'll owe that money back to the partner because it was garnered fraudulently.
So nope, you don't get paid, for streaming. So yeah, because we've seen this. Somebody is like, stream, and then they get busted, blocked, and they start up a new account, new album, stream. Not gonna work. Shut them down.
Yep, and we have ways of finding out whether accounts are related. I have heard a lot of, if I contact people about shutting their accounts down, I've heard, some things along the lines of like, oh well, it's me and my friends. We can tell if it's one person. There are ways to tell. So. Yeah, that's not something that's going to work.
I'm so sorry you have to deal with that, Rebecca.
That's okay.
You deserve better. Got
tough skin.
But you know what? It's dealing with stuff like that makes it so much more enjoyable to deal with all the legitimate artists who care so much about their music and the quality of their music and what they're actually doing, because that's who we're here for.
Yep, totally. And it's it makes hanging out with artists so much more fun. We get to talk about like real art instead of arguing about semantics over what is and isn't artificial streaming.
And just to confirm, like, if you get busted for streaming abuse, your account comes down.
Yeah.
Your releases come down. You drank fizzy lifting liquid. You get nothing. Good day, sir.
Yep, that's exactly right. If what you'd get is an email, probably from me, that just says, we've identified this content as streaming abuse. All of your content has been removed. That's it. That's your only notification, unless we notice something inconsistent. Like, it's on one release and we've been working with you for years and we don't have any problem usually. We'll try to get to the bottom of it, but if it's obvious, it's obvious, and it comes down right away.
When it's obvious, it's obvious.
Aww.
So don't try it. Don't try it. Or worse, don't get tricked into doing it by some company or that you pay to do it for you because you think it's a promotional thing.
Right, exactly. So a lot of times you'll see companies advertising like, I can get you guaranteed plays and promote your music to different people. What they're doing is they're running a bot. So if the offer is like, just pay me $5 and I'll do it, that's not a real promotional company. Yeah, don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it, kids. Right.
All right. Do you want any more ranch soda before you go?
I really do not. No.
All right. Well, let's bring Rusty back to see what his take on the ranch soda is.
Oh, Lordy.
Come on, Rusty. It's spooky soda.
Is it?
No, it's just really effing gross.
Perfect.
Try it.
You know?
I want to know but you have a very sophisticated palate. So I want to know what you think. What are the notes? I like it when people drink something, they talk about the notes.
So there's artificial butter. Maybe a little bit of Kleenex.
Go a little over.
Or a little bit of Windex.
Kleenex?
And, yeah, Windex, artificial butter, and desperation in this. Yeah, it's mostly artificial butter.
Mostly artificial butter. Veronica, that's going to be the next sign. Mostly artificial butter.
On that note.
I'm going to puke.
Yep.
All right.
You did this to yourself. I want you to remember that.
You took your
20
keys.
minutes.
You actually took your own keys from me.
Onisha is like,
All
oh
right.
my god, don't.
Let's get through this before I vomit. Rusty, what's on your mind? I can't talk.
All right. So there are a couple things that are on my mind. First, I've been thinking a lot about virtual reality and different kinds of applications. The big ones have historically been...
That's what you were doing
VR
while I
games?
was drinking. I was drinking ranch soda, and Rusty was thinking about virtual reality.
That's right. So how does that expand into the music space? There are a couple of different VR music apps that are pretty interesting. There's one that's called Electronauts, which allows you to virtually remix tracks from other artists. So like Tiesto is an example. It's mostly in electronic music. The one that I'm more excited about is called EXA, which is the Infinite Instrument. And it's kind of what you would expect to see in a VR space. It's almost like if you were in Daft Punk. And so there's like a virtual drum set, and you use the controllers to play drums, and then you can loop that, and then you go to an enormous xylophone, something that takes up the entire screen in front of you, and you're able to play along, loop that. Create your own content. You can use their own sound banks, or you can upload your own. Pretty cool stuff.
Wait a minute. That sounds fucking amazing. What is this called again?
EXA, the Infinite Instrument.
Sorry, Tony. We are going to go over a little bit.
Yeah, we're
here.
going to go over just a little bit. Yeah, just hang out. Yeah.
EXA. It's on. Oh my god.
Yeah. So,
Okay. Wait a minute. We're back.
we'll be back.
We'll be back in just a moment here because I need to know.
So Ro brings up a good point.
Good point?
Yeah, one of the main things that makes this less than perfect is the latency on it. You'll want it to be as low leg as possible.
Latency.
Classic.
But I remember when people first started recording on computers back in my day.
Yep.
And I'll tell you what,
A half-second delay.
it ruined everything. You're trying to track over something and you're playing and then you hear the note.
Yeah.
Can't do it.
Exactly. So with VR, it's still an emerging technology, and I believe that over time it's going to get more and more interesting, more complex, and faster. So EXA is really cool. I'm thinking about the future though, and I had a couple ideas. So
Awesome. Rusty has ideas about the future.
So
I want to be in Rusty's future.
Always. So previously, we think about how environment will dictate music. So you're limited to the instruments you have in front of you, maybe set and setting. If you're watching a movie and you're playing a score to it, it's going to be a reflection of the movie itself.
Okay. All right.
There was an augmented reality application for iPhone years ago that centered around the movie Inception. I don't know if any of you actually used this, but it was really interesting. Depending on how fast you were moving, the music would speed up or slow down. It would almost time stretch with you. So if you're in a car, it would become more and more and more intense. If you're walking around, it's nice and soft and slow.
What music? What was the music?
It was the Hans Zimmer soundtrack to Inception.
Oh.
It was really cool. But
Trippy.
What about flipping that on its head and you have a VR environment that reacts to the music that you play? And the more intense you get, the more intense your visuals around you gets. Or if things are more minor, maybe
am peeking, Rusty. Keep talking.
I absolutely believe that this will be something that happens in the future, and I'm really excited to try it if and when somebody really talented actually codes that.
Yeah, and we'll try to deliver your music there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Secondly,
Unless they let you upload directly.
well, of course.
Good
Secondly,
luck getting paid.
October is the month of horror movies.
Oh
And,
yeah, what are you watching?
So I just saw Mandy a couple weeks back.
My sister-in-law?
No. The Nicolas Cage wanton violent crazy movie directed by the same
Sounds
guy
like my
who did
sister-in-law.
Beyond the Black Rainbow. Well, I'm very, very sorry.
She's cool. She works at a preschool. She's cool.
Nice. Well, that's not a
Black-
great place.
okay. It's called Mandy. Oh yeah, I saw it was playing at the Hollywood Theater.
Yeah, exactly. It's fantastic. And the soundtrack is Johan Johansson and Stephen O'Malley. For those of you keeping score, Stephen O'Malley is the guitar player in the band Sun. So it's droney, it's nasty, it's ugly. And then it's just Nicolas Cage going apeshit, snorting a bunch of cocaine and just murdering Hellraiser-looking people. It's awesome.
Mandy. I'll
Yeah.
remember that. It's my sister-in-law.
You owe it to yourself.
I'll take her there. Oh yeah. Seriously. Okay.
Anyway.
Are there any more questions that we didn't answer? Rebecca in the Pony No.
They're mostly just about ranch soda.
Oh. Oh, good. That was a hit. Okay. Then I'll talk about wrestling for a minute.
Oh, here, let me time you. You know, this is what we call keeping them honest. Are you ready? Go.
Recently, on Monday Night Raw, there was this spot that you might have heard of by now where Brie Bella was delivering yes kicks to Liv Morgan, who was kind of Liv Morgan's on her knees, and Brie Bella's standing there and kicking her in the chest over and over. And at one point, there was a strange part of it where Liv Morgan got kicked in the face a couple times, knocked her out cold. They dragged her to the corner so she could tag out, and then they went around and finished the match. Now, a lot of people were online saying, hey, Brie Bella is dangerous. She knocked Liv Morgan out. She doesn't know how to wrestle. Suspend her. Get her out of there. She has no business wrestling. Everybody jumped on Brie Bella and piled on about what a dangerous, unprofessional, professional wrestler she was that had no business being in the ring because she didn't have skills. Well, I would just like to say that I have actually heard some opposite commentary from people who are actually in the industry, and they've said that Liv Morgan...
Oh, I'm sorry, what did they say?
Sorry. Tune in next time to see what she does.
Nobody's going to tune in next time to see what happened. It was Liv Morgan's fault.
Nice. And with that...
It was Liv Morgan's fault. I'm going to be on SmackDown tonight, you guys, because I'm going into the Moda Center, and I'm thinking maybe I'm going to bring this thing and hold it in the audience. Oh, yeah. Sorry, I'm going to bring, not the Velcro side out. I'm going to bring this thing and hold it in the audience, and I will be on the hard camera side. So if I bring this, see if you can, and you watch SmackDown tonight, see if you can pick it out in the audience.
Follow us on Twitch.
Don't forget to follow us on Twitter. Wait, let me just say the things. We're going to follow us on Twitter at Soundrop, Instagram at Soundrop Distro, twitch.tv/Soundrop, and Facebook. You know what? Screw Facebook. I'm mad at Facebook.
Yeah.
I couldn't get it to work today. It wants me to use my real name so all my freaking annoying relatives can come out of the woodwork and start bugging me.
Hell yeah.
Not going to happen. We might shut down the Facebook. Anyway, we'll be back. We'll be back in November as early as possible. We're moving to a new office, so we don't know the exact date yet, but
We'll keep you posted.
We'll see you then. Goodbye.
See ya.